So, good evening or good late afternoon. So, I will start my class today, and today I will start comparative anatomy of vertebrate. This chapter I am having in mind for several days that I should be have started this chapter long back, but because of several factors, there was a sort of delay in this starting this. So, without wasting time, let us start. Today's topic is integument. So let us start by presenting the screen. Okay, the screen is presenting. So what you are seeing over here is integument. This is a scan, a PDF scan from the book Cardong. Cardong. This is the standard book which you have to basically study, and you can get this book online. So it is, I will send all these things. Today I will send most of the notes of comparative anatomy which you can go through and start studying, and I will send this also. So what basically you have to study, the best books to study are the Kardong, and among the Indian authors I would recommend Ajay Pal Volume 2. That starts that more fat book Volume 2 from Asansol Pustakalaya. If you buy it, Ajay Pal Volume 2, you will get all the materials what you need for the rest of your BSc days here. Apart from your discipline specific courses, DSc, which you have in 5th semesters, apart from that, it will cover the rest of all the topics. Ajay Pal Volume 2, I would say. In that book, I'm writing it down over here, Ajay Pal. Ajay Pal. P-A-U-L. Ajay Pal Volume 2, CBCS Zoology. So this is this I would say will cover everything which you need to study. It will not cover certain aspects like your discipline and specific courses in the 5th and 6th semester. Those apart from those 4 papers, it will cover all your papers. You will not have to buy any other book. No, for those books you need to buy for animal behavior, for biology of insects, for uh, for parasitology, and there is also another aquatic biology. For these there are no books available also which you can buy. So I would say that if you get this book, it will be quite good for you people. So from a layman's term, integument is basically the skin. Your skin is known as integument. It is a composite organ. So it has got a lot of structures present. Therefore, it's a composite organ. On the surface is the epidermis. Below it is the dermis. Between the epidermis and dermis is the basement membrane or basal lamina and reticular lamina. The basement membrane is consists of basal lamina and reticular lamina. The epidermis is derived from the ectoderm and produces the basal lamina. And the dermis is developed from the mesoderm and mesenchyme and produces the reticular lamina. So let us have a look at figure 6.1. 6.1. So you have the epidermis here, and you have the basement membrane, and below that you have the this region. Let me increase the size. In the end, I will show you, since you people are doing a lot of online classes on your mobile, I will show you a device on Amazon which you people may find useful. It's got a magnifying glass, so you can see your mobile 4 to 5 times larger. It's very good for online classes, because the whole day on the small screen watching it's not good. So if you can watch it on a larger screen, it's just a magnifying glass, 300 400 rupees, not, it's not very expensive. So you can have a look at Amazon, mobile screen magnifier. You can see it, maybe it may help you people. So you have the epidermis here. Below that, this thin layer, basement membrane. Below the basement membrane, you can see that there is a lamina, the basal lamina. Then you have the dermis. Then you have the hypodermis below the dermis, and these are the muscle layers here. You find the muscle layers here. Inside you find structures called chromatophores present, colors. Then this layer is known as the stratum compactum. Above that there can be a mucus cuticle. This is essentially the structure of a skin. Now if you look at the embryonic development of the skin, this figure A, it shows, it is a cross section of a representative vertebrate embryo. So initially the ectoderm initially differentiates into a deep stratum basal. So this is the stratum basal. So let us increase the size once more. So this is the ectoderm. If you take a cross section, the outer layer is the ectodermal layer. This outer layer is the ectodermal layer. Below the, if you take a section of this region, they are taking this section. I'll draw this once more, this little section. They are taking a section of this embryo, they are enlarging it here. You have neural, these are the neural crest cells here. These are the neural crest cells here. They are migrating to the dermis. Dermis is below, they are migrating below. This layer here, this is the stratum basal. Above that is the, this layer here, this layer over on the top, this top layer here is the periderm. And this layer here is the stratum basal. Below that is the famous basal lamina. And then there is a space. They are taking the space, this space here, the coelom, you can call them later the coelom, coelomic spaces. Below that comes the myotome. These will form the muscle layers. And above that is the dermatome, which will, this is mesodermal. This is mesoderm, this is mesoderm, this is ectoderm. And below this will be the endoderm. So between the two mesoderm is your coelom. So below part is the myotome, mesodermal derivative, and the dermatome, which will also a mesodermal derivative, which will eventually form your dermis. And this outer side, this periderm, that will form the stratum, this will form the your epidermis. And these neural crest cells, or the nerve fibers, nerve endings or nerve cells, they will eventually, they are ectodermal origin, but they will migrate into the dermis here. They will eventually migrate to this region here. these cells. So this is how development takes place. Then you go, this thing will eventually will develop into your particular section of your integument or your skin cells. So this is the structure of a skin. So all these things are written over here. Hypodermis, skin swabs, these are all these things are written over here, and right now from here I explained the development. So if you read this part, this is good enough. Then let us see some of the specializations of the integument. Since it has been called a composite organ, so sensory receptors reside in the skin. Sensory receptors, what these are? Sensory receptors. Let me increase the size once more. You find these are sensory receptors. There are certain receptors. They exist in this region, in the dermis. Outer layer, we know that the outer layer epidermis, below the epidermis the basement membrane, then dermis, below is the hypodermis. We are clear about these structures. Then on the epidermis you find exocrine glands which have a duct, and these are ducts, they lead to the exterior from here. And you have endocrine glands which are present inside. As you know, the green color here is signifying that it is ectodermal derivative. This we can get from these pictures. And this dermis, as you know, is a mesodermal derivative. So the endocrine component is also ectodermally derived, but it is inside the in the mesodermal derived dermis. Apart from that, you have certain cells which have an interaction. So structures like this can be a feather, hair, teeth, etc. They can certain skin structures, they can rise. So we are talking about these skin structures. Let's consider this to be the hair. There is an interaction, and this you can see the hair is rising. So these are certain specializations which you can find on the integument. So these are several derivatives of the skin. This for your in your syllabus this is not present, but this is important for competitive exams. So it would be nice if you can go through this picture, but not for this exam. Let's go. We have to go check directly into the let us go to the next place, which is a process known as keratinization. So in certain organs where mechanical friction increases, for example, if you consider your sole of your feet, there always it is rubbing against the ground, or your hand always you are holding something. Certain thing known as keratinization takes place. It becomes hard. কখনো কখনো কড়া পড়ে যায়, ওই কড়াটা কিছুই না, it is just excess keratinization which has taken place, because that region, if you wash clothes and do harsh work with your hands, rough work, then you find that your hands become rough and hard outside, and that is because of keratinization. It's the essentially it's a response of the skin to external stress. Soft hands will say that you have not done much work in your life. Not true for all. My hands are soft, but it doesn't mean that I did not do hard work in my life. A lot of hard work and luggage carrying and lot of things have been done. So this is how this is the process of keratinization. But this is some people it happens more. Then in some people suddenly for no reason at all in your skin, suddenly you are not harsh, but you find that certain brown patch has developed over here in your skin. A brown patch has, it's not in my skin, but in some people it becomes hard and it's quite itchy and hard. It becomes dry and scaly. That is also because of certain friction which is taking place with the garment or fabric which you are wearing, and because of that, that region suddenly it becomes hard, and that is keratosis. It's not a disease actually, but it's a response. So if you wear light clothes and put cream and soft protective layer on top of this, such an event thing doesn't take place. So the top layer, as you know, this is the stratum. The bottom layer of this is known as the stratum basal. The region on top is known as stratum spinosum. It's marked. Let's increase the size. Stratum spinosum. On top of that you have the stratum granulosum, and in a place, a clear place is present where there is acellular region, that is the stratum lucidum. Lucid means clear, and on top this keratin deposition takes place, stratum corneum. We have this region for protecting the more or less lightly you have keratin on your skin. So this keratinization, stratum corneum, but in certain places this callus forms. This region becomes much larger, and this is known as callus. This is the process of keratinization. So keratinization and formation of a stratum corneum also occurs where friction or direct mechanical abrasion insult the epithelium. What a strong word. It's called insult, or it interferes, or it disturbs the epithelium. For example, the epidermis in the oral cavity of aquatic and terrestrial vertebrates often exhibit a keratinized layer, especially if the food eaten is unusually sharp or abrasive. In areas of the body where friction is common, such as the soles of the feet or palms of the hand, the cornified layer may form a thick protective layer or callus to prevent mechanical damage. So, figure 6.6, this is the figure which we were talking about. So let us go to the next part. You don't need to study about scales and all these things at the moment, because the you have to. It's in mammalian. Mammalian, more or less, it's in your syllabus. Shark skin and all these skins you don't need to study right now. So here we find, this is the I'll send you my note. In the note you find all these things over present. All these structures are present. Then we have to go to integumentary derivatives. They are horns and antlers. I will come over there. These are the things which you have to study. Integumentary derivatives, the difference between horns and antlers. These are all keratin and horns and antlers, and then you have to study the different types of exocrine glands present, then structure of glands, different types of glands, apocrine, endocrine, all the different glands, and brief details, and that's all what you is what you have to study. So let us go to the next part. So basically this note which I had prepared, this is specially taken from Kardong itself. So I don't claim any originality in this. Some pictures have been taken from the internet. But even if you read Kardong, that is good enough. So let us go to the next part. In former times, the feathers were in your syllabus, but it has been removed. It's not there anymore. Okay, let's have a look at the mammalian skin. The epidermis is differentiated into distinct layers. As in other vertebrate, the deepest is the stratum basal. So, the deepest is the stratum basal. Then you have the stratum spinosum. Then you have the stratum granulosum. Then you have the stratum lucidum and the cornified layer or the stratum corneum. This forms your epidermal layer. So this part is living cellular and above that is the acellular part. Then you have a hair coming out, a cross section of the hair. This is the, you have melanin present which gives the black color. Then you have the medulla of the hair present. You have a cortex and it's covered by cuticle. So this shaft of the hair goes below. You have a dermal papilla, hair matrix, cells are grown. Then you have this special muscle known as arrector pili muscles. So whenever somebody touches your skin or gives a slight rubs or tiltilates your skin, your hairs go ahead, or in the during the cold your hairs stand ahead. That is because this muscle contracts and your hairs become erect. After an electric shock, all hairs shock laga, your hairs go up, and that is because of this arrector pili muscles. Apart from that, you have these sweat glands present in the dermis. Green color signifies ectodermal derivative. So these sweat glands, they have ducts, so the sweat comes out over here. There are sebaceous glands, these oily secretions over here. They come from below the skin, from the hair pores. You find the oil which is present on your skin, it comes from these sebaceous glands over here. It comes from the sebaceous glands. So essentially this is the structure of a skin. You need to practice this structure. Hair tracts are present. So all these are the direction of the small lines on your body. If you see, your hairs are organized in a particular line along the body. So those are known as hair tracts. Then we come to the place known as glands. Principally, there are three main types of integumentary glands in mammals: the sebaceous glands, the acrine glands, and the apocrine glands. So, three main types of glands are present. So, the scent glands in some mammals, sweat glands, and mammary glands, they are derived from these glands. Sebaceous glands are globular. We had seen the sebaceous glands in the base of the hair are globular or sac-like in shape. Acrine and apocrine glands are long coiled invaginations of the epidermis that reach deep with the dermis but maintain continuity through the surface of the skin, even through the cornified stratum corneum. So have a look at the picture which is has been taken from the internet. So types of exocrine glands. You have the simple type of gland which comes on like this. This is a simple type. Then you have the branched tubular exocrine glands. This is the coiled tubular exocrine gland. Then branched alveolar, like sac-like alveolar structure is present. And in compound glands you have tubular or alveolar. Tubular means it's tubed. It's a very complex protrusions takes place. So this is the type of exocrine glands which are present. So have a look at this is the basic structure of a gland. So these are these violet pink are the surface epithelium, and this pink are the glandular cells. These are the cells which secrete the real hormone or the real secretion. These are the deep epithelial cells. So these are secreted here and they come out from this region. So the sebaceous glands they produce an oily secretion called sebum that is released into hair follicles in order to condition and help waterproof fur. Sebaceous glands are absent from the palms of hands and soles of feet, but they are present without associated hair at the angle of the mouth or on the penis near the vagina and next to the mammary nipples. At these sites, their secretion lubricates the skin surface. The wax gland of the outer ear canal which secrete earwax, and the meibomian glands of the eyelids which secrete an oily film over the surface of the eyeball probably are derived from sebaceous glands. Now let's go to the eccrine glands. The eccrine glands produce thin watery fluids, are not associated with hair follicles. They begin to function before puberty and are innervated, that is nerve connections go, mainly by cholinergic nerves, acetylcholine dependent nerves. In most mammals, these glands are associated with the soles of the feet and hand, prehensile tail, and other sites in contact with abrasive surfaces. Chimpanzees and humans have the greatest number of eccrine glands, including some on the palms and soles. In the platypus, these are limited to the snout. In mice, rats and cats, they are present on the paws and they appear around the lips in rabbits. In elephants, eccrine glands and sebaceous glands are entirely absent. So then we have the apocrine glands. They produce a viscous liquid containing fluid and are associated with hair follicles, begin to function at puberty and are innervated mainly by adrenergic nerve. Adrenaline, their response to beta adrenaline. They have got adrenergic receptors. Their secretions primarily function in chemical signaling. Surface evaporation of these glands help to dissipate heat, and they are termed as sweat glands. So you can see a sweat gland, coil gland, it comes straight, dermal duct, spiral, and sweat goes outside. However, sweat glands are not found in all mammals. The scent glands are also, which is derived from apocrine glands and produce secretion that play part in social communication. So, what are acrine glands, what are exocrine glands, and what are apocrine glands? You can have short questions on these part. Then you need to read about the mammary glands. They produce milk, a watery mixture of fat, carbohydrates, and proteins that nourishes the young, and release of milk to a suckling is known as lactation. They have numerous lobules, so you need to read this. This is the structure. You can see the nipple is known as the teat, and these are little lobules, alveolus lobules, which contain milk, and it comes out. This is the basically the nipple. In platypus, it's different. It has got a little hollow-like depression from which the young takes the milk. There is no teats or nipple. Your nipple is not. Nipples are without teats. That protrusion which comes out from nipple. So this is the structure of a mammary gland. So the structure in males as well as females, it is just the same. Only difference is that you have even lobules in males. Only difference is that in females, it has got much more fat present over there and much more allocation for milk production, and it's controlled hormonally. But the analogous, rather the homologous structures are present in the males itself because they are of the same species. Mind you, male breast cancer is far more dangerous than female breast cancer. In female breast cancer, still there is a chance that that person can survive if detected early. But in male breast cancer, immediately it spreads throughout the body if it happens. It's even more dangerous, but it happens less because presence of steroids don't act on the breasts of the males. In females, they act during all the menstrual cycle. You must have read this in physiology. Unfortunately, because of COVID, the physiology part became weak in your side. So this is the basic structure of the glands. Next we go to a very important part, the horns and antlers. So this is a very important part which you people have. The question comes, difference between horns and antlers. Let us go to that region first. So among the integumentary derivatives, the most important ones are the horns and antlers. Horns are one of the bony, permanent, hollow paired growths, often curved and pointed, that project from the upper part of the head of certain ungulate mammals as cattle, sheep, goats, or antelopes. So what are horns? Horns appear as outgrowths of the skull beneath the integument, which forms a keratinized sheath. This is a horns. Horns occur in bovids of both sexes and are usually retained year round. Antlers also appear as outgrowths of the skull beneath the overlying integument, which is referred to as velvet because of its appearance. Eventually, this overlying velvet dries and falls away, leaving the bony antlers. Antlers are restricted to the members of the deer family, and except for caribou, they are present only in males. Antlers are shed and replaced annually. So, antlers, they grow like this. They are shed, but it's also the same thing, but this is how antler, this is quite permanent. This horn is quite permanent, but here it also comes out, but then you have a covering of velvet, and it has got a bony core. So the velvet dries out, and this covering goes away, which you see, this pink covering goes away, and this bone is left out. It dies out and it's left out. And this they use for fighting. Pronghorns in seasonally, then they are shed, a new growth starts to take place. This is for defense and fighting, for male sexual display, all these things. The more fiercer the horns, the more violent it looks and the more strong it looks. So this is how this is all which you have to study from this chapter. I will send this note, I will upload it in the Google Classroom as well as send it on WhatsApp. So with this I stop my sharing and let me get back to the class. So do you people have got any questions? কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন আছে এটা সম্বন্ধে?
না স্যার।
ওকে, ঠিক আছে। তাহলে আমি আজকে এখানে শেষ করছি। পরের ক্লাসটা আমি তো তোমাদের বলে দিচ্ছি। হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু প্রত্যেক থার্সডে 4টের সময় রাখো। আজকে একটা অন্য কারণের জন্য, কলেজের কাজের জন্য আমাদের প্রিন্সিপাল খুব অসুস্থ, তাই জন্য দেরি হয়ে গেছে। হ্যাঁ, তো ওই কয়েকটা কাজ করতে গিয়ে তোমরা করো। তোমাদের সব নোটগুলো কম্পারেটিভ অ্যানাটমির আমি আপলোড করে দিচ্ছি। আজকেই করে দেবো আমি। ঠিক আছে,
ঠিক
ক্লাস
আছে
আমি
স্যার।
শেষ
হ্যাঁ,
করছি আজকে তাহলে।
ঠিক আছে স্যার।
ওকে।